That's about it.
Could have been a awkward son. Welcome to order, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible.
Flowers.
Here.
Council members Budday. Here. Vogel.
Here.
Recklo. Here. Robinson.
Here. All right, so that will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, we have a second? Second by Councilmember Vogel, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda, do we have any items we'd like to discuss on consent agenda?
Discuss. Item I.
All right,
The only question is,
the towing service.
right, my only question is, why is there a reason we only do 1 year RFPs? I mean, is it, just seems like we come enter into a contract with somebody 1 year seems short, and we have to go through the whole process again. I recognize there'd be a time frame that'd be too big, and you'd go 5 years, something like that, but why? Have we looked at 2 years? Can we go 2 years on an RFP?
So Mayor and Council, with our RFPs, we do kind of base those based on the type of service as well. I'll refer back to Todd if this was an organization that chose to stay at a single service. But we tailor those a lot of times based on the type of services and the need, but then also on the contract itself. So,
Yeah, and then this RFP proposal that we're putting out there is gonna be for a multi-year contract with the tow service, so it's gonna be more than a 1 year. I believe it's gonna be a 3 with an option of 2 additional years, so.
Perfect. Good, thank you. That's all I have.
Anything else? All right, then we'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Frecklow, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Udvig, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting open to the public.
So we have Steve Kane.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and department heads, thank you for having us tonight. Today I'm here representing the St. Francis Ambassadors. This group is dedicated to the city of St. Francis. They have spent, or they have done over 80 events this year representing us. The commitment these young ladies make is amazing. They pretty much give up their summers, a lot of their summers, to go and do this for us, along with the parents and our staff. They spend many thousands of hours traveling. They travel thousands of miles, all representing the city of St. Francis. And it's more than just waving in a parade. It's more than a parade for them. They also do public service. They do a lot of work with the park up here and other projects that people may have. Department heads, council staff, if you have anything coming up that you would like to have the ladies attend, please ask us. They're here to help. If you'd like them to do something, they can greet people coming to an event. They can help do something that you need, that you'd like to have done, or hand some things out. They're here for you. We are here for the city of St. Francis. And with that, we're here tonight to ask for a donation of $1,400. This money is going to go toward storage. We have to store the float. We store it down at the Anoka County Fairgrounds. We have to pay for that. And this year we had hail damage to our cover. Our canvas cover cost us, I think 2 years ago, about $3,000 to get. And it's been pretty well hail damaged now. Now I know the city carries the insurance, and I don't know if that would be covered under insurance. That's a question I'd like to bring up. And have maybe somebody take a look at. But otherwise, we would ask for that donation from the city. And at this time, our ladies would like to pass out a button with their pictures on it. May we approach?
Sure.
Ladies? At this time, do you have any questions of us?
I do not. Sir?
I always have questions.
Go.
Just curious, so excuse my naiveness on this, how are you funded? How do you?
Fundraisers.
Okay.
Strictly fundraisers. We are a 501c3.
And when you talk about the insurance, who owns the float then?
We do.
Okay. So they fall under the city insurance, we insure the float, or?
Mayor and council, that is correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Sure, do we know what the stuff, with the insurance question, do we know what we're paying for that on an annual basis currently, and then Jenny, can you tell us what we donated last year? This cause?
Mayor and council, I believe it was a 1,400, but without Darcy here, the insurance question, we're missing the staff person that would have that.
Okay,
But we definitely can find out and email with her as well.
sure, we can probably talk about, give a couple minutes of our work session coming up, just to refresh ourselves, so. That's all I have, thank you.
So do we intend to make this a work session item? It's not on the agenda, so I don't know how that works as far as the math.
Mayor and council, it's up to you, if you would like me to add it to the work session in 2 weeks,
Oh,
3
would-
weeks, we definitely could.
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go. So we're gonna go to a work session, I guess, on that item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to make one correction. You'd think after all my years I would remember this. Steve Kane,
There you go.
23104, Durrani Street, Northwest, St. Francis. You think, you know, once you retire, you get a little lazy. If that's all, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else?
Yes, Joel Warren.
Mayor and Council, Joe Lawrence, 330-235th. Just had two things tonight. One, noticed lately we spent a lot of time talking about THC and stores and things like that. And I just wanted to, with my profession, not allowed to partake anyway, but just remind council that we do have a city-sponsored liquor store about 300 feet away from our middle school football field. In addition to, you know, just some of the other, whether it be gambling, fundraising and things like that, we do at a city. So just to make sure that we're being fair to the businesses and working with them and not necessarily against them. And the other thing is I did have an opportunity to watch last council meeting, and Councilmember Vogel, you were very, I'll use the term abrasive. I don't want to be derogatory, but in a lot of the questions that you were asking, both of the we'll call them city workers and of the fellow council members. And I just, my dad worked as a city worker for over 30 years, and I've been working in local government I'm starting to approach that. And I think at some point we got away from the term civil servant, started calling people city workers. So just kind of remind council that everything you do and say is going to impact not only contractors that want to operate in our city, but also the people here working in our city who are very good. So I think it's important that we treat them with respect, and if we have questions or concerns, that we're doing that maybe without so much emotion. Trust me, as a fellow conservative, I appreciate people looking into some of the expenditures and stuff, but I think there's ways that we can do that without maybe coming across. And I showed some other people the council meeting, I'm like, am I crazy, or is this just a little bit over the top? And you know, most of the people that watched it were like, yeah, it seems like, you know, there was a little more to it than just concern over some money spent here, some money spent there. So, and then I'll just end with, my wife, I found out we do have the dog park now. She's excited. She doesn't have to drive the animal anymore. So appreciate that. So thanks, council.
Thank you.
yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
Can Joe, can you tell us, give us an example of the first time you spoke about, or have we been noted being unfair to our other businesses, or somebody solicited our liquor store and for something we couldn't supply or do, or?
No, I just, watching the previous council meetings where we seem very concerned with, I don't know if it's a THC store, or cannabis store, or signage and different things like that, where I feel like we're asking city staff to spend a lot of time researching and in good, you know, ways that we should. But there's a lot of focus on a business that's been legalized at the state level. If we didn't operate our own liquor store, again, 300 feet away from the middle school football field, I think we'd maybe have some more sting to it to say that, hey, we're shooting to go in a certain direction, but our city actually operates off of funding from liquor and funding from gambling. So I think it's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black when we pick on one particular business. You know, while we operate to that, you know, I don't know if you want to call them sin businesses or what you would call them, but just as an example, you know, we're kind of already down that path, and I hate to see us spend so much time on something. If we're just trying to be careful and dot our I's and cross our T's, great. If it's something that we just don't like, maybe we'd be better off working with those businesses rather than trying to skirt laws or use the legal system to prevent them from being able to operate in the city. So.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought somebody made a solicitation towards the municipal liquor store.
No,
We refused to
gosh,
do it.
no. Trust
Again,
me.
you're right, we do have the opportunity and the right to step back and take a breath on things. I don't think we got very upbeat about it. I thought it was a pretty open and candid conversation. But, well, what we do here is really for the benefit of the public overall, so, yeah, stepping back and taking a breath is, I'm all about that. But I do appreciate coming though.
Yeah, Thank you.
Well, I think you, Joe, just addressed that, just for better understanding, I know you watched it, but I think too, for me, it was, staff came to us with a moratorium prior to all this. I thought the state law was gonna cover a lot of that spacing from the schools, so I'm like, we don't have to worry about it, right, my own ignorance. So I was kind of against the moratorium to begin with, to give staff what they asked for to begin with, so I wanted to take that on myself as far as, that's my own mistake, right? I get what you're saying, I've always been termed debauchery, I don't know why, it's just funny. For those type of businesses, I guess, but, I think too, it was the giant pot leaf that created a lot of, upheaval on Facebook, so to speak, and I had a gal, I think her child goes to school here, I don't think she lives here actually. But she was voicing a lot of concern about it, reached out to staff, and it was actually, I wanna credit the staff too, that worked very hard, you know, as far as, looking into it. What was approved was not that, so they did put up something that wasn't approved already. It becomes a free speech issue, when you come to what's on the sign. So there's that too, but it was kind of poor taste, in my opinion. It was like, probably should listen to staff to begin with, we would be in this situation. Reactionary on my part, so I just wanted to give you a little background on that too, so. Hope that helps, but I get it, I think you're right, I don't know why one's more accepted than the other or whatever, it's either pretty much the same. You know, tobacco's kind of villainized now too, and thankfully I haven't smoked since March, so. I don't have to worry about that. Anything else, anybody?
Joe, please call me.
Yeah.
My number is on the site, or Steve, you know, I'd love to talk to you more. Thanks.
I think too, it's Mark's new too, so I think too, if you didn't know Steve, you'd think Steve was abrasive. Knowing Steve and knowing that he's passionate about what he believed in, I mean, I can see how people could take him the wrong way too, so. Might be just a similar thing, getting to know somebody too, but, sure you appreciate it.
All right, love to talk to you.
Honest criticism, so. Moving on, new business, item A, First Baptist Church Expansion Site Plan Resolution 2024-35, approving the site plan for First Baptist Church expansion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, for you tonight is a site plan review request for a proposed building addition on the First Baptist Church. So this site is located adjacent to Highway 47, just kind of between 229th Avenue and Patterson Drive. As you can see, there is an existing access drive that's gravel right now that runs north-south through the site. And on the site today is the First Baptist Church, and then the school that's run through that church as well. So the proposed site plan includes an addition in the yellow there on the screen, kind of on that southeast corner of the site. It would include a new auditorium that's about 6,400 square feet, as well as a 500 square foot storage area. The eastern parking lot area would also be enlarged and improved, as well as the southern portion of the access drive. So with all of those changes, the existing auditorium space would then be converted into restrooms and multi-purpose space. So the proposed expansion is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the R2 district. So right now, this site is guided for public and institutional use, that's that blue color. And then it's zoned in the R2 medium density detached and attached residential district, where schools and places of worship are permitted with standards. So I did mention the kind of gravel drive that runs north-south and provides access to the site. That southern portion of the drive is proposed to experience the majority of the increase in traffic that would result from the expansion. And so that southern half or so is proposed to be improved to city standards, which means paving, curbing, things like that. The applicant is also proposing to change the intersection where the drive meets 229 to a right in, right out. And that was really based on safety concerns that were raised as city staff were looking at it, simply due to the close proximity of the intersection of the drive and 229, and then 229 and Highway 47. So looking at stacking concerns and things like that, right in, right out felt like a good compromise to be able to maintain the existing location of the drive, but to ensure as much safety as possible and keep the traffic moving through that area. There are currently 116 parking stalls on the site. Some are paved, some are gravel, and kind of are located around the existing building. The applicant is proposing to improve, again, that eastern parking lot and increase the number of stalls to 140. When we review parking requirements, what we're looking for is that the appropriate number of spaces per the city code are provided. So we look at all of the uses on the site. And there are 2 uses on the site, school and place of worship. However, those uses don't overlap as far as the timing goes. So the school obviously would be during the school day, during the week. Worship would be Wednesday evenings and Sundays. And so as we did those calculations, you can see that the place of worship use requirement requires 129 spaces, which is the more restrictive of the 2. So that's what we base our calculations on as far as requirements go. And so with the 140 stalls that are proposed, that meets the city's requirements for parking standards. The applicant is proposing to add some additional landscaping to the site, primarily around the east side of that site, around the renovated parking lot and then the building addition itself. There will be a mix of trees, including maple, spruce, crabapple, and honey locust. And that tree mix does meet the city's requirements for tree diversity and just number of trees planted. There were just a few minor modifications for the parking lot landscaping specifically that staff found in reviewing the plans. These are included as conditions of approval tonight. Basically that just a few trees need to be added around the perimeter of the parking lot, and then 1 needs to be added in the interior to meet city standards. The site today is served by city utilities. City has adequate capacity to serve the building expansion as well. And then there is a stormwater pond that's proposed to be constructed northwest of that principal building that would serve the site. So the planning commission reviewed the site plan back in September. There was some short discussion about just the location of the southern drive and where it meets up with 229. And after that discussion, the planning commission unanimously recommended approval of the site plan for the expansion. And so tonight, council is asked to review the site plan and then to take action. Suggest motions on the screen. Happy to answer any questions.
Kevin?
I have no questions. I have the luxury of being, attending that meeting and I have a liaison, so, I'm very happy for the trip. They're able to expand and their numbers are growing and looks like a really nice project ahead.
Crystal?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
My only concern was the South Drive. It sounds like that's been addressed. Only other question I have on in relation to that South Drive, the future 47 roundabouts, how does that work?
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, the main question comes up particularly along Pedersen and the intersection of Pedersen and 47. And that was one of the reasons why, as staff talked with the applicant, it was decided just to leave that northern access drive as it is today. Because there are still some questions around what exactly that intersection looks like and what may need to happen or not need to happen. And so we didn't want to require something that then would be required to be changed in a number of years. And so it seemed like the best option was just to leave it as is for now, knowing that a majority of that traffic increase is coming from the south anyway.
Just additional question, is there a roundabout proposed by the south entrance as well then, or?
I don't believe
I
so.
think just that, Mayor and Council, so the access point at 229th, they're looking at a 3/4, which would limit some turning movement, but would still have full access without a control of either roundabout.
I have nothing further with that. Sounds like we meet all our requirements. So we'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-35, approving the site plan for the First Baptist Church expansion with conditions that finding of fact as presented by staff. We have a motion. Motion by Councilmember Edmig. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Frecklow. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, grading interim use permit amendment, resolution 2024-36.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a request for an amendment to an existing interim use permit on the North Bremen site. This IUP was originally approved back in 2022 to allow some additional grading on that site. It was approved for 2 years, which means it would have expired in September of 2024. While the grading was occurring, The applicant found that there was some unexploded ordnance in the area, which has obviously delayed the project as they clean that up and make sure that they have appropriate safety measures in place. And so the applicant is requesting an extension of that IUP for an additional 2 years to September of 2026. So happy to answer any questions.
Questions, sir? Really? Yeah,
No questions, Mayor.
all right. Have no questions either. Obviously, safety is always a good thing, so. With that, we will, entertain a motion to extend that, to approve resolution 2024-36, approving an interim use permit amendment to allow the site grading on the Richard D. Schroeder Advanced Ammunition Range. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Vogel, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, work session reports.
Mayor, council, before you is a request to set a second work session. So we already have ours on October 28th. It's getting pretty full. And looking for one on, or towards the end of November. We can definitely talk about budgets before our next budget approval, which would be the first week in December, as well as we'll have a few other topics. So,
We're looking at the 25th, I would assume.
that's up to you. So I listed 3 dates for consideration. November 12th is a Tuesday. Monday, the 25th, would keep it on a Monday if you'd like to keep that pattern. Otherwise, Tuesday, the 26th. would work.
I got messed with my schedule at work, so I gotta think.
What was the first date, Kate?
So I've got Tuesday, November 12th, Monday, November 25th, or Tuesday, November 26th. As 3 options.
I believe all 3 work for me as well.
I prefer Monday, but I hope.
You like Mondays too, right?
So would you like to keep it Monday, November 25th?
I won't be in town that day. One of the first 2 days work for anybody?
Well, I can make the 12 work, I believe.
That's the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 12th?
Works for everybody, I guess.
That'll be 5:30 at the community center.
Thank you.
Moving along. Meeting open to the public. All right. Reports, item A, fire department monthly report, August.
Mayor and council, for your review tonight is a monthly report for the fire department for the month of August. We continue to see a positive impact on our response times. Certainly having the expansion of Bethel is showing improvement, especially on our east side of town, where we get double calls coming in. Certainly has an impact on our overall response times, which we're seeing a positive impact. For the calls of service for the month of August, you'll see it spike up to 80, largely in part to the 2 storm events that we had towards the tail end of August. Again, grateful for our staff and our partners within the city that got us through those 2 events during that week of significant weather. Our average firefighters responding to calls continues to increase as well. We finished the month at a total of 7, which is a significant increase from the previous year. And again, mostly correlated to the storms that passed through during the month of August. You saw our fire and EMS runs kind of equal out over that month. We did see a lot of power lines and fire related incidents due to the storm. So that's the reason for the change there. On the last page, again, you'll see we have a continued high use of our variances for the month of August. We have had higher acuity medical events this year. So we continue to get high usage out of some of our advanced variances in that capacity. And only flagged 1 ambulance response time over 20 minutes, which is, again, we're starting to see it come down the other way, which is an improvement. And lastly, for code enforcement, we had 2 initial inspections with 2 re-inspections for a total of site visits on the month, 4 site visits for the month. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have for me.
Thank you. Kevin?
I don't really have any questions, a good report as usual, I just wanna send my appreciation for the behind the scenes work you've been doing the last 3 months and most as of late with the Nowland situation and what's going on over there, so nobody sees what you do when you're not around here, but I know what you've been doing when you're not around here, so I wanna say thank you, if you're not feeling appreciated there, we sure appreciate you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, I just wanna extend our gratitude for all of the work that you guys did during those storms. I heard it was pretty rough around here, thankfully I was 5 hours away, but, I got reports that I got pretty here, and you guys did an excellent job handling all of
Thank you.
In this report, I know you guys have been busy with accidents as well, so, we've had a few pretty severe ones around here. I think our men and women who are responding to those have been on the good job.
Thank you.
I have no questions. Again, thank you. I definitely send it to the staff. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll move on to council member reports. Crystal.
Nothing that I can think of.
Yep.
Not necessarily in this order, but I attended the school board, meet the candidates night. There's about 40 people showed up, and I know they were televising it and or broadcasting some portion of that in some fashion, but then you can also YouTube it after the fact, so it was good to watch that in action. Or I believe 7 candidates up there, they all look like really worthy board members to fill 4 seats, I believe, are open this year. So please get out and vote in that regard. I also attended the Anoka County election integrity meeting. The mayor and myself attended and got some interesting facts and some statistics and whatnot about election and how it works and how it all takes place. Also attended the Nowland city government had a special meeting also regarding their fire department and whatnot. And it's also interesting to see other government in action, to say the very least. So that's all I have.
I also attended the ACID meeting, so found it very interesting. A lot of information there. I thought it was a good presentation. Okay.
I was not able to attend the candidate forum, but I didn't watch it. I encourage people to watch that. It is on the school website. Watch that. And then I think for the breakfast, yeah. Everything's running together, but I did attend the work for leash cutting. It was well attended, and from what I hear, it's being used quite often, so be respectful and take care of things. It's not finished. We still will be continuing to work on it, so be patient. If you have issues, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, yes, I attended the leash cutting of the Bark Park, with Kevin and Sarah were there, and then the ACID with Kevin and Mark. Again, interesting information coming out there. As far as I know, we're not moving forward with anything at this time, but I think it's something we could definitely discuss in the future, see where that goes. But as of right now, we don't have anything in the copper, so to speak. Then, yeah, I responded to some complaints, whether online or noticed some things on Facebook too, which again, people, if you go to the website, I put this up every time I respond to somebody on something on Facebook, if I happen to come across it. Again, if I happen to come across it, then we can address it. If I don't ever see it, nothing will ever get done. So I would encourage residents to try to go to the website, click on the department that you think, I mean, even if you get it wrong, our staff is good enough to where they're gonna direct you to the right place, to address any issues you might have, whether it's parks or, you know, whatever department it may be. So, I stumble across things once in a while on Facebook, and then I try to, you know, say a word or two, but it's just one of those things that I've seen a lot of complaints about the Bark Park. You know, people complaining about certain little things that staff's already addressed. Now Paul was quick to jump on it right away, which is awesome. I appreciate that. But when I see those things, I try to screenshot them and send them to them. But again, that's not the proper forum to complain to get things done. If you want things done and done faster, you know, we all think government does nothing. And you know, what was it? I met a gentleman the other day too. We were at the Vista in the field too. I don't know. remember what date that was, but, Madam Mayor, he said to me, it was funny that, you know, people think you're completely worthless as a politician, but yet want you to do everything all at the same time. So how do you get stuff done when you're completely worthless? It's just kind of, it's a good, it was a good analogy, I thought. Yeah, other than that, we'll have, city offices closed on October 14th, there was Columbus and Indigenous Peoples' Day. There's a household hazardous waste drop off, on October 19th. And we'll have our work sessions coming up and whatnot. I think we'll have a few more, at least one meeting before the election. That is all I have. Do we have anything else anybody'd like to address? No? We entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
Make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Edvig. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Carries at 6. 30.